Yo, I don't know if you realize this, but the Phillies made it in the World Series. We'll talk about that in a minute. I had to start with that. Major auto lenders are turning tides in auto loans because of a little bit of cutbacks, chargebacks. What are they called? They call them two different things in the main article. We'll talk about that in a second.
Well, you got charge-offs, and then you got
I think you have write-offs,
and then you got cutbacks, and all of those things are real things, and they all have to do with, like, you know, lending in the economy. So
there you go. It's been a good show. I hope you learned what you need to learn today.
You got all the words. You don't really know what they mean yet, though. But you know, if you're around, you can Google that.
I know. Hey, we both hope you all had a great Saturday of sales. You still have one left if you didn't realize.
Unbelievable. Because it's a 5 Saturday month, Paul.
Woo! Have we mentioned that yet this year?
I don't know if we mentioned that.
Oh, man. I'm coming off a beautiful weekend for most of the country. I think a lot of people just spent a lot of time outside, frankly.
It was so nice. So nice here in the
We did. I was like, is this what it's like in Nashville in the fall? Because it was like, 70 and sunny and gorgeous.
Actually, Nashville has been so temperamental this fall. It's been really annoying. Like, some days will be colder than Syracuse, and some days it'll be like Miami.
Well,
like,
so it's kind of
minus 83 degrees out today. Like, that's not fall.
Ooh,
that's early summer.
That's when you're like, is this what fall's like in Florida? Like,
right, something like that.
Okay. Oh, I got a lot of good
real
things.
Quick. I got 2 records to set straight. Just real quick. This is a little aside. First record. We dropped this thing live in Nashville. We put a little post out on the LinkedIn, and everybody was like, DM. We're not sharing yet. But
Stop DMing. We're not going to tell you.
But I will say there have been a couple people that have already been like, book my flights. I'm like, whoa, we didn't even tell you what we're doing yet. So that's number one. Second is I posted on LinkedIn this morning, and I wore this shirt. I don't know if you can see it real quick, Paul.
No crisis can win shirt for those on the podcast.
Because here's the thing. And as we get into this show, there's like a little bit of crisis just as we get into it. There's this like maybe if you were paying a little bit
potential crisis.
There's an undertone, and I just want to say, no crisis can win. No matter what the news or whatever we're talking about or whatever anything is talking about, like, you can double down. No crisis can win. That happens with COVID or chip shortage or inventory shortage or potential recession or potential changing in lending. It doesn't have to change the way your business has the capacity to succeed. So don't miss that as we get started today. Sorry,
that's a
had to roll those things.
That's a great level set because it really is the DNA of the auto dealership world.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
Whatever. Okay, we got it. We got it. Yeah.
Next.
Dude, that's so funny. You brought that thing up in Nashville. All right, let's talk about the first story that is not a crisis that we can't beat. The tides are shifting for major auto lenders as an increase in write-offs and a pullback in originations are noted across the country from some major lenders. Wells Fargo said they've seen higher loss rates for loans that originated last year, right? So those are now like 12 months old. And it led to an increase in loans that they've written off, meaning that they're just going to consider it bad debt, right? It's not going to be paid back. What they've done actually is tighten their underwriting standards when they saw the originations from last year starting to show problems. And that actually led to, the data shows about a 40% drop in the amount of loans they are giving out. So the amount of originations, that's Wells Fargo. Ally Financial, they saw, now they call it charge-offs. It's the same thing, I think. For retail auto loans that are quadruple in Q3, what they were last year, they said they could, they've climbed from 1.05% to 1.6%. Although still they are below what they were, important point, pre-pandemic, right? So we know we went through the pandemic era. Everything was the kind of, but it's good to metric these things. Say, hey, what was it like before we went into all the madness? So we're still below those levels. Finally, the third bank covered in the Automotive News article says Fifth Third Bancorp said it's pulling back on originations, citing dropping used car prices and the risk of being upside down. Chief Credit Officer Richard Stein said Fifth Third is seeing more consumer subprime credit scores outside the company's typical borrow. They're trying to get concessions from lenders. So they went into the subprime market more than they usually did. And now they're seeing those loan charge-offs increasing. But what they are saying is that a lot of people are reaching out, trying to still work with the lenders. So, hey,
so let me real quick, just a little bit of like education here. Loan origination, new loans being set out. So
thank you.
If Wells Fargo is having a 40% drop in origination, it means they are giving out 40% less in overall loans. Second, write-offs. This means that the interest charged is lower than the interest rate that the bank is lending on, or that they are gaining based on the investments of the lending that they're doing, which means they're having to write off on a quarterly basis those losses. So you see a lot of this in like inventory and things like that. When you're writing down or writing off those losses to accrue for losses instead of just assuming losses, that's what's happening there. Charge-offs, meaning literally like things like vehicles being returned or vehicles being brought back, loans being charged off, gone, especially things like loan origination being charged off within a month or two for loan default payments. So when you think about 1.05 to 1.6, that's a doubling in the amount of people that are not even getting into their loan because of an incapacity to be able to make those payments. So that's kind of like the
I feel like we need an infographic. We need an infographic.
Yeah, it needed to be like step 1, step 2, step 3, and get your free white paper.
Well, here, yes, we got to call our friends at Allied, see if they're up for a little education, with a little ASOTU education. Hey, here's how I process this from like, okay, consumers are showing up in your F&I office or in your software, and they're either getting something that's declined, or they're having a subprime conversation, or it's just not working. You are going to need to find a way to, number one, put them in the right vehicle to begin with, more than you usually would, right? Because people were lending pretty freely, right? And those early conversations are going to be the thing that serves your customers and you best in the scenario. I mean, that's just one point that came to mind, right? I think of the human element and the amount of conversations that have to happen, which the second you start to have those conversations, you're on your heels. Everybody is.
Yep. Well, and like, I think a lot of consumers even don't have this recognition of the way interest rates have gone. Like they've heard like interest rate hikes, right? But not really understanding how that impacts like the payment they were looking at. Because you think about typical purchasing timelines are like 60 to 90 days. So if someone started their search 90 days ago and was looking at interest rates at that point, and they're still assuming a payment based on a vehicle value at that point, like you're going to have that's going to be a rude awakening when you get time to pencil those payments out. You know,
no kidding. No kidding. So something to be aware of. If you're at the F&I desk, you already were aware of this, but I think broadly speaking, understanding that this is just a new dynamic that is in the field of play now, right? This is a substantial thing. This isn't maybe going to be a thing. This is a thing. It's going to continue to be a thing as, you know, things get cut back. Speaking of cutting things back.
Stop. Segue. Time.
So Tesla is cutting prices by over 9% on some Model Y and Model 3s in China, citing falling material prices and overcoming some recent production glitches. The Model Y now has gone back under $40,000, so it's $39,800 down from $43,700 with the long range version at even a bigger discount. They said standard Model 3 is down to $36,700. So it's also down from just under 40,000. So the announcement came a day after CEO Elon Musk warned of a brutal recession in the earnings call. Competition in the Chinese market is obviously much hotter than it is in the US, where Tesla still dominates the EV market. But in China, man, the walls are closing in over there.
There are some walls closing in for sure. Yep. Yeah.
And so when he was asked whether or not,
okay, go finish that. Finish that.
Last little point. When they asked whether or not Tesla was going to be adjusting prices globally, Mr. Musk said the only company was only watching its costs closely, and lithium prices remained, quote, crazy expensive.
There you
unquote.
Go. Now, here's what I just got to throw this out there. So you remember back when we had a whole bunch of inventory on ground, and we needed to sell that inventory?
That was
and an OEM was like, "Yo, we should reduce these prices to get this inventory gone." You know what they called it, Paul? You know what they called it? They called it a rebate. So what you're telling me is the price change is a rebate, but we're not really saying it that because
they would never,
never say it that.
Ever rebate that. You know what it's kind of strange because what this does is introduce a market volatility adjustment into pricing. And I almost feel like from a manufacturer standpoint, I don't know, because the reason you give a rebate is to keep your established price where it's at, right? We're not saying this vehicle so that you can
incentivize all of the on-ground inventory. And so this changed because like you can't change the actual sticker of a vehicle, and so he's got stickers on it. So yeah, so you got to go put these. Yeah, it's really interesting.
They don't have a sticker, right? Just change it online, like.
Well, but they have an MSRP. They have to have a sticker on the cars. They have to be delivered with a Maroni label.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be delivered until it's sold. Like no one's going to see the sticker until it's
sold. But they have on-ground inventory. They have inventory that is shipped and has a Maroni label.
Oh, that has a label in it.
You could go change all the Maroni labels, right? You get your little detailer out there with the little scrape tool and spray some water and stick it back on up there, right? I mean, we've done that before in the industry, but yeah, it's just kind of interesting how now you can see that new cars might have the potential to like have shifts in pricing, not just up, but down, and not be labeled a rebate. This is just a new market dynamic that we haven't dealt with in the past.
It's interesting. Hey, do you know, it's a little fun fact from my detailer past.
We got a lot of did you knows this morning.
Did you know what the first name of the first company that offered the Maroni label service to auto dealers were? You know what it was called? It's great.
It's probably something like Stickers for You or something silly.
No, Rolling Maroni.
Rolling Maroni.
It sounds like a food truck. It sounds like a food truck, right? Rolling.
I feel like it's got sub sandwiches.
It's a Maroni.
It's got a Maroni. Get you some pepper.
It's like a sub sandwich that's only in Detroit, right? Rolling Maroni.
If someone doesn't do that right now, I'm mad. And some dealer in Detroit needs to have a Rolling Maroni food truck out on the lot today.
Oh man. Oh, I don't know where to go with that one for this.
Nowhere to go.
Speaking of having fun.
Segue.
We are. We're just having fun on Monday.
All right, Kyle, you want to drop this one because this is the fun that's going to leave you smiling and then awkward all at the same time.
A Ford dealer in Arkansas is in a legal battle. Yes, a legal battle with a consumer who sunk a hole-in-one in a golf tournament for what the consumer thought a brand new F-150. The story goes like this. A $53,000 F-150 is sitting outside of a hole at the Morrilton Country Club. And it's interesting because what happened was that the dealership has said that they could have the car out there for display purposes only, but the country club for their fundraiser threw out, hey, we're throwing this for a hole-in-one competition. So they got their, their wires crossed just a little bit. Screenshots actually showed that the country club posted the contest and the dealership liked the post, which has since been deleted naturally. Now, what's funny is, okay. You know that the social media person is just liking anything that comes through the thing, right? I mean, but now you got to think, every interaction at your company has something going on. And hey, screenshots are forever, even if you can edit tweets. Autoblog reported that Norwood provided a video of the club employee calling J. Hodge Ford after Cladge's hole-in-one. Oh, don't tell me, a dealership worker said. And the
Norwood, by the way, is the guy who hit the hole-in-one.
Right. And the club employee responded, unfortunately, it happened.
So all right. So what this means is this is probably what happened. Hey, we're going to do a truck, right? We're going to do a truck. It's going to be a hole-in-one thing. No one's ever going to win it, right? Oh, we didn't get the insurance. So if you don't know, whenever there's a sweepstakes, the company doesn't actually commit to giving away. There's something called price indemnity insurance, which is like if I want to give away a truck, I buy this insurance that based on the probability of it actually happening and the rules of the contest, you pay just a fraction of the cost. And if someone wins it, the insurance actually pays for the vehicle. Well, apparently that was not in place. And so everybody's kind of in this backpedaling mode, right? Of like, and you just imagine that, like, I don't want to speculate, but I'm going to. The chances of this happening were so low. If you couldn't get it in place, you might be like, we'll risk it.
No. You put it in place every time. I've done this before. You put it in place every single time.
I think it was in motion. I just don't think it ever got through to completion. So
because you have to literally, the country club has to write the contract with the insurance on it. Like it's like the process of this goes.
I'm thinking if there was a contract, it probably would have been produced at this point. I'm thinking it was probably like, let's just do the thing. Got to do the thing. I mean, look, if there was tight paperwork, this wouldn't even be an article.
It doesn't even matter because I don't care. If I'm a dealership, this is the best $53,000 in marketing spend that I could potentially have because I'm going to slap this on everything. I'm going to write a story about it. I'm going to do a video. I'm putting this guy all over social. He's going to be in the middle of the showroom, the whole 9 yards. And it's going to be a well worth it spend, especially at this point, because my man is not happy. You know what I'm saying?
And look, you know what happens when the public opinion is going to shift behind this guy? Like, it's going to happen. He's getting a truck. Like, I'm just telling you right now, he's getting a truck. The insurance on this, you know, I had to look it up. It's usually between 3 and 15% of the cost of the vehicle based on the probability. Here's the probability, right? A pro golfer has a 1 in 3,000 chance of making a hole in one on a course. Someone with a -1 handicap has a 1 in 5,000 chance. A novice like Kyle has a 1 in 12,000 chance, and someone like me can't even reach the hole if I launched it out of a cannon. So it has a 0% chance. So I don't know. I was trying to think. I'm like, how would I fix this? I think like a middle ground's like, let's give this guy a lease for like 3 years. That's probably the way to get out of it, right?
That's good.
It doesn't cost you $53,000. He's going to be happy. You're going to have the photo ops with the keys. Like, you know what?
Solutions.
Something messed up, but we can fix it. And then I would follow Kyle's prescription for you put this sucker everywhere, all the time. Make him an unbelievable hero. And then, you know, there's probably some Happy Gilmore things we could do. Have a little driving contest. Pivot this into the next thing.
It's over. Yep.
Because like we said in the beginning, no crisis can win, Kyle.
No.
Give the guy a no crisis can win t-shirt.
Give him a shirt. Give him a love people more than you love cars shirt. Let's go.
What? We can love people more than you love cars shirt while you're giving him a no crisis can win shirt, and everybody wins. We hope you go out there and win money because we got another Saturday coming, and this week is just getting started.
Good